Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining and welcome to today's session on an introduction to Dataiku Solutions. My name is Divya Thomas, and I'm Dataiku's Senior Product Manager for the Solutions range. Today, I'm going to be talking you through what are Dataiku Solutions and the value that we deliver with them. I'm also going to be demoing 2 solutions for you out of our catalog so that you can get a very practical and real understanding of what they look like and how they work and what we deliver with those solutions. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can go about accessing solutions yourselves. And then we'll turn it over to a little Q&A. So let's get started. Before digging into solutions, I wanted to just quickly cover some of the challenges that we see over and over and over again from organizations that we work with. So one of those challenges fall more onto the data scientists, and that challenge being that a significant burden is put on data scientists to show a very clear return on investment of AI investments that are happening in their organization. And the way they do that is often by building on foundational use cases that have an immediate and clear impact to the organization. However, these foundational use cases are very time consuming. There's a lot of work involved, and unfortunately, that leaves very little time for them to focus on driving real innovation and transformation around AI in their business. The second challenge that we see is more towards this group of users that we call business modelers. These are people that typically will have titles like process engineer, finance analyst, clinical analyst, pricing managers. It's a pretty broad range, but essentially it encompasses individuals who make decisions in an organization and need to be involved in AI and the work that's going on, largely driven by those data scientists. Unfortunately, the value of AI for a lot of these organizations is mainly dependent on those data scientists. But that's not all of the value that can be driven with AI. A lot of these business modelers, if given the right inclusive strategies and operating within those inclusive strategies, more of them can be brought into the process in order to fully integrate AI into everyday workflows and the decisions that they are making within their organization. Here's where Dataiku Solutions come in. So most of the solutions we deliver really target these 2 personas. Those built towards data scientists are built on foundational AI use cases, and they're there to accelerate that time to value. Our solutions are ready to use upon installation. They can be extended, they can be adapted by data scientists, but with a minimal amount of work needed. They're not building these foundational AI use cases from scratch. By delivering those type of solutions, data scientists can spend more time working efficiently, they can build trust in AI, and they can focus on innovation and transformation. The solutions that we build, which are more targeted towards business modelers, are there to empower them to really actively contribute to AI transformation. Those solutions deliver very intuitive tools to the decisions, the business processes, and the needs that those type of users have. They also foster collaboration with data scientists. There's a clear collaboration point of where data scientists are still involved. We're not replacing the work that data scientists do. We're supporting that collaboration. And finally, they're there to accelerate the engagement of business modelers in that AI journey so that they can drive impactful decisions. Before I show you 2 of the solutions in our catalog, I wanted to just show you our full catalog. So this is the full catalog of solutions that are available today. As you can see, they cover a very broad range of processes, domains, and industries. And like I said, at the end of the session, I'm going to show you how you can go about accessing all of these solutions yourself. So first, let's talk about a solution that we've built more for data scientists to accelerate them on a foundational use case. The use case that we're going to be talking about today, it is cross-industry. It's really specific in the marketing, sales, and customer management space, and that's customer satisfaction reviews. So I think everyone on this call knows about customer product reviews. You might have used Amazon or some other retailer, and you've written possibly an Angular review, hopefully a positive review about a product you purchased. And all of that information is obviously really relevant to an organization that's building products and building brand strategies to really understand customer opinions. So we talk about a data scientist that's going to be working on a use case like this. They have a lot of challenges when it comes to building a customer satisfaction reviews use case. There's large, messy data coming from disparate sources, and it's not always clear how to translate this into something that's understandable and relevant. That data is also constantly updating, and there's also a need to incorporate business knowledge and LLMs to do things like sentiment analysis insights, um, topic identification, summary, review summaries, things like that. And then finally, they need to build this in a way that can then be handed off to marketers who can use it to build stronger brand strategies around those products. All of this culminates into a very complex project, which can require weeks of time to build, test, and refine. So let's take a look at the solution that is here to accelerate that time to build for the data scientist. So when I first install the solution, this is what I'm going to see. I'm going to be on the home page. I can get a little view of what's going on, but let's jump right into the flow. So as you can see, our flow in all solutions, our flow is broken down into different flow zones. This allows us to present an understanding of what's going on in each individual data set and recipe, and also allows any data scientist who's using this who might want to make slight adaptations, extensions, further customizations to know exactly where that needs to happen in the flow. We're going to dig quickly, though, into the input data set. So all of our solutions are delivered with sample data. We do this, first of all, so that anyone who installs a solution right away can use it on that sample data. They can see what the outputs look like. They can see all the different steps of the flow and what's happening to that data. And the second reason being, it then allows us to show our users what it looks like, that input data set, and what should their data look like, what data is going to be relevant in order to tackle this use case, and in what format should it be. This is a significant amount of work for data scientists of just getting their data into the right way and finding that right data. So it's a first point of acceleration for them. If we go back into the flow, I'm going to go through this very quickly. Again, not in too much detail, so we can keep it high level and just understanding solutions. But in this solution, we're doing a bit of sentiment analysis as indicated by the flow zone. This is going to allow us to just get a sentiment understanding of each review, whether it's neutral, positive, or negative. We're also going to incorporate the usage of LLMs. So one thing to note, you do not need to have an LLM connection set up on your own instance to install any of our solutions that make use of LLM. It will install without a problem. You will be able to see the prompt and understand what's happening in that setup. You won't be able to run it, but you can see the inputs and outputs still. It doesn't serve as a blocker there. So we're using LLMs here to do first a bit of topic modeling so we can find the top topics that we want to look at. So that input data set, it's on clothing. We can identify topics in the reviews, things like fit and size, comfortability, material, things like that in our topics. And as we can see here, they're grouped things like color accuracy, like I mentioned, fit and sizing, things like that. We're also going to use LLMs to do a bit of review analysis and summarization. So again, we can go ahead and look at the prompt and see what's going here. So we're going to summarize the average opinion based on those topics that we identified. And lastly, we're going to do a bit of post-processing and data cleanup in order to get it ready to visualize. So let's go ahead and look at those visualizations. All of our solutions are delivered with dashboards. These are pre-built and all of it's wrapped up to give a very clear indication about what's going to be relevant insights that we can extract from the data. So in the case of customer satisfaction reviews, what we can see here is that we can explore some customer ratings, we can review key topics and feedback on our products. We can do a bit of review filtering based on product ID, based on dates. We can dig more into those topics. And it's organized by topic. It's organized in a way that makes sense and can very clearly identify what information is going to be important to us and ultimately guide decision making. Last but not least, what I want to show that's contained in all of our solutions is a wiki. So this is pre-written documentation by the team that builds that has built this solution. It's going to give a really deep understanding about what are the key outcomes, how we go about building this solution, the decisions that were made, to give a very clear understanding of what you're using. It's not just a black box that you install and then just trust. We're going to really provide a deep understanding and deep documentation about what's happening here. It also allows our end customers who might want to make further adjustments or extensions, the documentation that they need and to understand this solution so that they can make further changes. For example, there's a bit more here about the data model, descriptions of those columns that I showed when I opened up the input data set. All of this is really here to support an understanding of the solution and further work. So hopefully that was a really good first quick view of solutions, our customer satisfaction review solution. Before moving on, just a couple of additional pieces of information on this. So like I said, and like I've shown, there's many other solutions that follow this same model targeted towards data scientists that contain the same components and are really there to be ready to use right away. That being said, though, we understand many of our customers, after installing this, using it a bit and getting to understand it, might want to make additional changes. They might need support in getting their data into that right format for the data model that we've given. They might have other customizations that they want to implement to their specific needs. On average, for our solutions, we see around 2 days of implementation work for our customers to make those specific changes and get that specific support. And then about 2 hours before they can deliver some first results. This is much quicker than starting from scratch and really delivers on that value proposition of solutions for data scientists, which is accelerating on those foundational use cases. So now that we've talked about one solution that we built for data scientists, I'm going to show you a Dataiku solution that's been built more for a business modeler, specifically a process engineer in manufacturing. Do not worry, I'm not going to get too into the weeds about the specificities of process engineering and manufacturing. At a high level, you just need to understand that we have a process engineer. She's really knowledgeable in the manufacturing, the production floor. She knows about the products that are being built, the machines that are being used, but she wants to be able to identify those key parameters of production. So what I mean by that is, if she's in charge of producing tires or cheese or some other product, a lot of different factors go into ensuring the best quality. Things like temperature in the factory, humidity, the amount of pressure that's being applied by the machines. All of this is really important to improve outcomes. And by identifying those key parameters, our process engineer can identify issues that are emerging and ensure that she's making the right decisions. She's making decisions based on data and analytics, and she can ensure the best quality of products that are being produced. So let's go ahead and take a look at this solution. So again, this is the first thing that we see after installing our parameter analyzer solution. We can very quickly go into the flow. It's going to look really different than the last one. It is small enough even that there aren't flow zones because there's very little happening in here. But what we're going to go into specifically is, again, we can see that this solution is delivered with a sample data set for us to work on and start using, and also to impact and understand what our data should look like when we plug this on our own data. Again, just as with all solutions, like the last one, it's delivered with a wiki. It provides information about the value, how to go about installing this, configuring it, requirements, data model, things like that. All to ensure a very, very quick understanding and the support provided to end data scientists that if they need to adapt, if they need to adjust, they have the documentation that they need to really understand what's happening under the hood in this solution. Now let's go to the core of the solution, which is this intuitive tool that we've been talking about. So as a process engineer, like I said, I'm responsible for performing analysis at the factory level to understand why the parts my factory is manufacturing are varying in quality so that I can proactively take corrective action. Instead of me having to work within a flow with data sets and recipes that I don't fully understand, this solution gives me a tool that makes sense to me and is going to surface the type of information, the type of choices, and parameters that are going to be most relevant for my business process and the decisions that I need to make. So I've already connected it, as you've seen, it's already been connected to my process and quality data. So I'm going to go ahead and start using this tool. From this interface, I can go ahead and select the variable that I'm interested in analyzing, what parameters are impacting it the most. So let's say that we want to understand variations in the weight of parts that are being manufactured. I can choose a range of time here. So let's go ahead and leave it as the default. I'm going to apply the choices that I've made, and it's going to go ahead and load the data that is most relevant to me. So we can see a lot of data right now. And it's pretty spread out all over the place. Maybe not totally interesting to me, but what I can start going ahead doing is I can define what is an acceptable range to me of part weight. I know that something is going wrong and you can see some spikes here. I want to figure out, okay, what is an acceptable range of weight? Why are there variations? And then we can dig a bit more into those unacceptable variations, let's say. So let's just set a range. Go ahead with 280. By setting that range, I can then see, okay, these are all acceptable weights. This is a range that I'm okay with. And those that are not okay fall in this 1.54%. Maybe that's okay. Let's go ahead and try and dig into that a bit more because that is a significant amount of my production and I need to figure out what's going on. I can then move forward and try and understand, okay, what variables are impacting that weight? Again, to dig deeper into why are some of the weights exceeding the range that I'm deeming acceptable. So I might want to select all of these. I'll do a little bit of filtering based on things that might not make a lot of sense in this situation. Let's go ahead and run this. So here I can start to see, based on things like shot size, temperature, pressure, as I mentioned, there's certain areas where it's relating to that not okay range. So it seems that pressure within this space, it results in weights that I've deemed outside of my acceptable range within these temperatures, etc. So I can then continue to follow, and this is a process that process engineers go through of trying to identify those parameters and trying to then ensure that changes to the process are made on the manufacturing floor. I'm going to continue digging into this. So again, I can see temperature. So let me go ahead and define the okay range. We're going to go ahead and say that this is okay to leave out those variations in part weight that I'm not comfortable with. By running this on this range, I can see from our initial population, what is the selected population? What is that improvement that we're seeing based on all of that? And if it's something, if it's a significant enough impact that it's clear to me that this makes sense and can really improve the quality of our products, I'm going to go ahead and save that study. By saving studies, I can go back and see other changes in part weight, other variables that I might have looked at and made decisions about our process based on. And by saving these studies, I can then go back and work on a copy of this. And it's going to take me back to the beginning. So as we get new data, I can continue to run analysis on it. I can continue to identify what parameters are impacting and make those very clear business decisions that have a real impact in my organization, all within Dataiku, all within a tool that has been created for me to use in a very intuitive way. And ensures that that collaboration point that exists between me and the data scientist is as frictionless as possible. So this solution, we actually did, it was a result of a co-build with Michelin, which is a French multinational tire manufacturing company. We've already seen a business impact with them. So they did come to us with a really clear business objective. We worked on this solution with them, with their process engineers in mind, to make sure that the tools and the strategies that we were building were inclusive and did have that very clear target persona in mind. This solution has already been deployed and is being used by several Michelin factories around the globe. And the target is for all of their factories to eventually be using it. As I mentioned, both data teams, and as you can see, both data teams and quality process engineers are working together on the same data. They're working within the same solution. There is very clear collaboration between them through the support and the strategies that we've created with this solution. And by ensuring that there's collaboration, by working on something that is inclusive and intuitive, both those data teams and process engineers can trust the results and make their decisions faster. So based on these two demos, hopefully everyone here is just ready to leave the session and get access to our Dataiku solutions. And I'm going to show you how to go about doing that. If any of you do not have a license and you're sitting here frustrated that you can't even start looking at solutions, do not worry. So actually, all of our solutions are available on Dataiku's public read-only instance. So if you go to gallery.dataiku.com, you don't need to sign in, you don't need a license. You'll be able to view all of our solutions, including the two that I showed today. You can see Parameters Analyzer right there. It's read-only, you won't be able to run anything, but you can go about exploring solutions that you saw in that catalog that I showed at the beginning and seeing if they're relevant to you and if they can address the needs that you have in your organization and the needs that you're trying to address with Dataiku. If you do have a license, whether you're a cloud user, you have access to our solutions through the Cloud Launchpad, or if you have a self-managed instance, the solutions are available within your instance itself. Again, all of this is accessible to you. You can go ahead and install them right away, start using them with sample data, and trying them out on your own data as soon as you have done a bit of initial exploration. So that's it for my session. I want to thank everyone again for joining today. Hopefully, you know a lot more about Dataiku Solutions now than you did before, and you're excited to get started with them. And now I'll turn it over to a little Q&A, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about solutions. Thank you.